So if you're overweight or a bit on the fat side, we had a question that came in on the YouTube comments was, can people who are overweight or fat, can they go and start TRT? We're going to discuss after this, so keep watching. Hi, I'm Mike with Balance My Hormones, where we help men and women on their journey to optimal hormone balance. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and leave comments so you don't miss future content. So we're here today with my friends Michael and his brother Carlos from the Medical Health Institute here in Miami, and we're going to discuss can people who are overweight, can they safely start and effectively start TRT? Will it help them? So, all right, guys.
All right. So I would say, I mean, short of you having some kind of, heart issue or that obviously is revealed through your biochemistry, should always do a proper lab. And obviously under the guidance of a doctor, but short of you having some kind of, hematology condition or something of the sort that will prevent you, I think, the litmus test is your testosterone production really, really low. And we find that as, even, people that are overweight, that seems to be the case, right? I think that 2015, there was a publication by the Mayo Clinic and Harvard University where they declared low testosterone or testosterone deficiency in men a global public health concern, to the point that they were doing trials to put all of their diabetic patients on testosterone therapy because every single diabetic patient had low testosterone. So, obviously testosterone will help you build muscle and reduce an adipose tissue. As when you have low testosterone, you have a lot of adipose tissue. So definitely if you're overweight, testosterone can help you. And we've seen it work time and time again, reducing cholesterol levels, hemoglobin A1C levels, and obviously living, TRT by itself is a great thing. But if you pair that up now with the motivation and the energy to actually move your body, we find that that synergistic effect is tremendous in helping patients. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael?
I think there's the weight gain is caused by many different things. I think today our lifestyle is very stressful, and we know that eating while you're stressed, it increases your hormone-sensitive lipase, which in turn makes you increase your visceral body fat, which is worse than having subcutaneous fat. Right. And the more visceral body fat, the more cortisol production, which is a vicious cycle. I'm guilty of that one, and I've experienced that one where I know I have visceral fat. I don't really have fat on the outside, but I have like sometimes a hard round belly, and I have noticed.
You just have to suck it in.
Yeah. No, but I have noticed that in the past, 4 or 5 years growing the business, I instead of giving myself a break when I eat, the stress, I just got used to eating under stress, which is not a good condition to be eating while you feel like you're surviving. And when you're in survival mode and you're activating your sympathetic nervous system, it's not time to digest and process and assimilate. It's time to run.
But
so I think that that's a contributing factor. Not getting good sleep, which we like to call sleep fitness today, because sleep, one study shows that patients who slept 5 hours and patients who slept 8.5 hours, the same group, just different hours on the same diet, same exercise routine, they burn 55% more body fat, the ones that got 3 more hours sleep than the ones that were 3 hours deprived, which were sleeping on 5 hours. So gut dysbiosis, processed foods, sleeping late, not following your diurnal rhythms, being exposed to blue light spectrum. There's so many things that are influencing our body weight, and it's just becoming harder for people to lose weight. So it's not completely the person's fault. There are many things that are affecting their biochemistry, and we just have to do our best to work on.
What's interesting is I can't remember the set of guidelines. I don't know if it's like the European Society for Endocrinology's guidelines on TRT. One of the things they discuss is, well, maybe you should try diet and exercise first before you start someone on TRT. But other guidance have argued against that, especially the British guidance have talked about, well, actually the TRT is a really good starting point, along with knowledge and input of diet and exercise in combination.
Yeah, right. I mean, the science is undeniable. Testosterone therapy is a lipotropic medication. It helps you catalyze fats and triglycerides through metabolism. It improves your insulin sensitivity. The synthesis of protein skyrockets. So if you're lifting weights, you're metabolically going to be more active. I mean, it's undeniably effective.
Yeah, and it's also, you know, listen, I honor and I applaud and I respect people that try to go about it naturally. Right? Yeah. And you know, I was like that for a very long time. The problem is that we live in a different world today.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about before, the EDCs are just something that we cannot control. Not only that, but I mean, how many people really shop at the supermarket and read ingredients and read actual nutrition facts? So if you don't pay attention to those things, I mean, the amount of hidden sugars that are in everything you eat. I'm going to give you an example. Like my wife and I went out and we were going to make like guilt-free pizza, right? So we were going to make cauliflower-based pizza. And I bought these frozen cauliflower at the health store. Yeah. It said 100% natural cauliflower, right? So any unsuspecting customer is going to wipe that thing down, you know, make the cauliflower and think that they're eating healthy. But then I turned the packet around and there was, you know, 2 more ingredients, cauliflower and sugar, cane sugar, 3 grams of it per serving. Why the hell would you want to have sugar on cauliflower? So these are the kinds of things that happen all the time. I mean, there's even long names that we can't even pronounce. And this stuff is hidden in our food all the time. If you go to restaurants, I mean, the amount of sugar that they throw in food so that it can taste great and give you an experience, the umami sensation, right? And then also, you know, like sushi. I mean, it's 2 parts sugar, 1 part water just to make the rice, right? And so imagine that. You think you're eating, I'm eating sushi, I'm eating healthy. No, you're not. It's like eating ice cream.
The white rice is also
right.
And glycemic index.
Correct. And to your point, you know, should the person start exercising, eating better? Sure. Is it better than testosterone? Whatever, you know, the combination. I think that it's important because, look, if you're overweight, right, and you get pumped up, let's go to the gym, let's go to this thing, right? And your testosterone is super deficient, you're going to get really frustrated because 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, your results are going to be, I mean, turtle speed. You're going to see barely any results because you got to compensate for the low values. And then your recovery from exercise is going to suck. So you're going to feel like crap about it, and it's going to feel like work. Versus when you have the right substrates in your body and you have the right hormone balance, it's like it clicks.
No, and I think we made a good distinction a while back that he made where if you look at the Roman sculptures, they were built. They didn't have weights. They weren't lifting dumbbells back in the day. They didn't have, you know, Gold's Gym or something like that. They were naturally built because we naturally had a really high testosterone level.
Like the medieval, you know, the Renaissance period paintings, right? Those Roman soldiers, I mean, they look like what bodybuilders look like today. You look at the landscape today in men. What do they look like? I mean,
pears.
They look like pears, right? So those guys, you know, Jay's funny because he says those guys were walking around with 3,000 levels of testosterone, and that could possibly be very true. Very true, right? And so
I think some of the sculptures, though, many of them were very young men that they were taking who would be in their prime. So
yes, all right. But if you look at 30-year-olds and 25-year-olds now, it's pathetic out there.
Say one of the things about the food you mentioned, even fresh fruit and veg may have microplastics in them.
Correct.
So it's everywhere.
I mean, we did a test with Dr. David Minkoff. Yeah. I don't know if you know he does he's an Einstein when it comes to the microbiome. Yeah. And we did an extensive gut test. It took about an hour each just to go over a gut test. And we try to really take care of ourselves. I had the highest levels of glyphosate. We all had. Dr. Rudolph, everyone,
from the shower.
And it was funny because the doctor had the minimum.
From the shower, the water, you know, walking out barefoot into the grass and, you know, absorbing all the pesticides. And
so we were filled with this toxic substance.
Thanks, Monsanto, which is now bad.
Thanks. And so, no, but to the point is, you know, people that are watching need to understand that living in a modern society, we've made some compromises and we made some sacrifices. You know, it comes at a cost. You know, plastic. It's undeniable that plastic has changed your life. It has made life more effective and it's more comfortable and it's, you know, efficient. But at what cost, right? Yeah. Right? We actually, you know, Dr. Shanna Swan, who wrote an amazing book. Anybody who's considering to get on testosterone should read her book. It's a book called Countdown, where she was actually, you know, the person that published a landmark study in 2017 that showed that over the course of the last 50 years, we've lost more than 50% of the average testosterone rate and fertility rate in men. And that's a real fact. Wow. To the point even that she discovered what they call the AGD, which is the anal general distance, is the distance between your anus and the start of your scrotum. And she found that through generations, that distance has been becoming shorter and shorter in male babies. Yeah. and it's actually a connection to lower testosterone through life. And even, she even talks about some of the gender fluidity that we're seeing because, men are almost emasculated because, remember, plastics are deeply estrogenic.
That's
right. They actually attach to the estrogen receptor, right? So it's very important. So
potentially blocking the androgen receptor, I think.
Yeah. So if you are overweight and your testosterone is low, it's my personal opinion that I honor you and applaud you if you want to do it naturally. However, because there's so many things that you can't control, you're going to be deeply frustrated. So if you want to have success, and look, you and I both know, Mike, that it's not just about aesthetics. The problem with our industry, and I think clinics like ours, is that when guys get the type of advertisement that around testosterone, what do you typically see? Guys with bulging muscles. So if you're 300 pounds, you can't really identify with that, right? Number one. Number two, and then it's like sexual promiscuous scenes. And it's not just about that. Those are just fringe benefits. Yes, will your erection improve? Sure. Would you get better body composition? Sure. Right? But it's more about the effects on the brain. Yeah. And we know that if we get your brain right and we turn the lights on there.
And the metabolism as well.
And the metabolism, for sure.
And this is, we were talking about this earlier, the people who may sometimes stop their treatment or drop out of the treatment only to return, it's because they'll say, well, I got on okay and maybe the sex drive was okay. But what I really noticed when I stopped was I gained all this body fat.
Yeah.
Even though I was doing the same amount of exercise as before. So this tells you that, well, actually, testosterone is a metabolic enhancer.
Yeah. And to build muscle, right?
There's a study that I was reading. Again, we don't ever prescribe 600 milligrams of testosterone. Yeah. Maximum dose will go to
That was like one of the maximum doses used in those studies. I think it was 600 milligrams.
Yes. Yeah. We use anywhere from 100 to 300 at the most, and that upper range is very, very few people who basically been burnt out, and that's what they respond to. Anyways, the point is that it was a 10-week study. People working out 3 times a week, weight resistance training, were able to build 4 pounds of muscle in 10 weeks, while the guys that took 600 milligrams of testosterone weekly were able to build 13 pounds of muscle in 10 weeks. Yeah. Now, obviously, again, we're not inclining for muscle building or bodybuilding issues.
That was
to give you an analogy that, speaking from a metabolic point of view, you burn about 2 calories per hour per pound on body fat, right? Because fat is an inert substance, but it still consumes energy. Right. And muscle consumes anywhere because there's muscles that are more dense than others, depending on the myosin and the actin, how much basically fibers they have, and the density. You can burn anywhere from like 6 to 10 calories. The judge is out on that. But let's just say it was 6 calories more, so you're burning 3 times more the amount of energy just because you're holding more muscle mass. So that's why we're big on lifting weights, because if I am a runner and I run on average 500 calories, right? But today I didn't run, I didn't burn those extra 500 calories. But if I stuck to a regimen 3 times a week for 10 weeks and I build 10 pounds of muscle, now I can probably burn 200 to 300 calories naturally every day
doing nothing
without doing anything, because you start losing muscle anywhere from a week plus. So
the point is, building muscle, because sarcopenia is a fact of life, right? Sarcopenia, we're all headed there, and we lose 35% of our muscle mass between 30 and 50, right? So building muscle is really the key here, and if your testosterone is low, you're going to have a difficult time building muscle.
No, absolutely. And building muscle shouldn't be a kind of a taboo thing. It's, muscle mass is important for your generalized health and wellness.
To cross the street, to get up from the couch, to pick up your baby. I mean,
you need it for just activities of daily living.
Yeah, correct.
So, and
you lose about 8% per decade, and after 70 years of age, 15% per decade.
So, we're not saying testosterone is going to solve all those
absolutely
problems.
Not.
But it sure does minimize.
Powerful tool.
Quite a bit.
And now what we're using is semaglutide, which the brand name would be Ozempic.
Which
I'm telling people this is the new 2.0 version of insulin, because insulin was for diabetic patients, and it's basically you're patching up a problem. What I like about the Ozempic, or compound names of semaglutide, is it's actually helping you inhibit developing diabetes, because it's cutting your hunger, you're eating less, and it's helping bring your hemoglobin A1C down. I don't know how they measure it over there, but here you're pre-diabetic from 5.8 to 6.3, from 6.4 and on.
5.7 actually.
Yeah, it's as you approach 40 and 42.
5.7, sorry.
5.7 per diabetic.
No, it's 5.8, man.
5.8, I think.
Yes,
is 5.8.
No, it's 5.8. So when we have somebody at 5.8,
or 42 in the UK.
Okay.
Right.
We like to say you're like, oh, I'm pre-diabetic. We like to say that's like being halfway pregnant.
Right.
You're either pregnant
Or
or
you're
you're
not.
not pregnant. Like based on optimization, we like to see men under 5. 4.5 to 5 is like a pro athlete, somebody that's really healthy, which what we like to tell them, your hemoglobin A1C is a marker of inflammation and oxidation at the same time. So if we can reduce that, we're going to reduce the inflammatory response in your body, making it easier for you to lose weight. But we have seen that the semaglutide therapy for people who've tried every diet and they just can't close their mouth.
They get the anxiety.
Well, that's
eating,
true. Some people who saw testosterone will say they notice an increase in appetite.
in hunger. Yeah, of course, when you're building muscle.
Usually, if they're working out, you'll see the increase in appetite. It's completely normal. Your body's going to require more fuel. So it's just adjusting to that. But we have seen that people who are 300 pounds, obese, will do the semaglutide. We had one patient that basically was used to eating every day a bowl of oatmeal, ate a quarter of it, and sent a picture like, hey, I am full.
We've seen people drop 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 30
pounds.
On average, because you don't, it's 300 pounds, 400 pounds, that's a specialty case. But, most people will range in the 200, 250 pound range. And to bring that person 50 pounds down is a significant improvement. And obviously you don't want to do it in a 3-week period, right? Because then you're going to lose some muscle with it. So I like to tell people, listen, if I'm accomplishing and helping you lose 2 pounds per week ceiling, I'm doing my job. Right? And you can maintain that. But, 30 pounds off is an incredible improvement. And that's what we're seeing on average.
Oh, that's really good. So, and we have it available in the UK, I think, under the brand name
Ozempic.
And it's semaglutide, I think, is the generic.
Yes, it's a compound name. You just have to be very careful when using it. We're very precautious, so we follow exactly the Ozempic protocol, which is a very small dose, anywhere from 0.5 milligrams to 0.25 milligrams, because people can get nauseous. People can get, want to throw up.
You want to ramp it up.
Yeah, you want to help them acclimate to the medication. Another thing that we have found and that we have had low as well, after the age of 35, the hydrochloric acid of your stomach goes down, so your ability to digest protein decreases, and most people don't chew their food enough. Guilty.
I'm guilty as well.
I'm guilty.
I'm guilty. My younger brother, he'll chew his food 100 times. And he's very focused on it.
But I think that's you're basically, as I like to say, your stomach and your anus literally starts from your mouth down to your anus. So it depends how much you're chewing your food. If you churn it to the point that it's almost liquid, then you're going to be, because I say that because I've always had digestion problems. So I've always suffered from gut issues, and I notice the times that I do actually chew, my next day when I go to the bathroom is easier. If I don't chew food well, I don't go to the bathroom.
That's a lot to think about.
Another problem in our country that, it's kind of a pattern is that we're an overfed nation, but undernourished in protein. So, even if you see a guy like 350 pounds, you see, oh, that guy's malnourished. He is actually malnourished in protein. And so getting the 8 essential amino acids in their proper balance every day is super important.
He's overfed and starving to death. That's what we like to. That's why they're overweight. They can't stop that impulse of eating because their body's not getting enough micronutrients. So your body keeps screaming, eat, 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 and they just can't.
And I don't know how it is. I think this has been worldwide, but at least in the United States for sure, we've been on this sort of indoctrinated theory of low-fat diets, and every time that you do it, the low-fat diets are the worst.
Then you end up replacing with sugar.
Right, sugar and carbohydrates, and that's every time you do that, then you're just accumulating fat over and over, because what you really want to do is get fat adapted. Right, you want to get fat adapted to teach your body, neurons that fire together wire together.
Some people do keto diet. They're very focused because they're going for low carb.
But then again, the keto diet is a pain in the butt because you can't have more than 50 grams. I mean, I personally like my carbs. I like to have a beer once in a while. I like to eat a pizza once in a while. I like to eat a burger with a bun. The bun for me is very important. So,
all right, we're gonna go for pizza.
So being a keto diet is a little extreme for me, but for some people it really works. For some people it really works. I like I forget who wrote the book, but I read a little bit of it already. Keto Flex, where you flex in and out. you do a little bit of keto, or you cause mild ketosis.
Nomad and Mediterranean. You kind of like, switch it up.
I follow more the paleo keto style. You get me?
But fasting.
I was
for sure. Intermittent fasting for sure.
Well, I'm on thyroid medicine, so I do intermittent fasting in the morning. So I for a whole hour or two, I don't have breakfast. And then, so when I don't want to sound, you know, embarrassed for not having breakfast or guilty for not having breakfast, I'll say, oh, I just do an intermittent fasting. Yeah. I'm covered. Well, let's get, what were we talking about? TRT.
We were talking about
TRT.
Can you be overweight and be on TRT?
Yeah.
So
100%. You should be if you are overweight.
Okay, so that.
But we just have to watch for the estrogen, as you know. They're more inclined to aromatizing testosterone to estrogen when they have a lot of fat in their body. So if we have somebody that's really fat, they definitely have to be on a 3 times plus protocol, because now they can aromatize a lot the testosterone to estrogen, and then they have side effects. And
or essentially a smaller dose more frequently.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, and it's nice that here in the US you've got more of those tools than we do. We finally, at the clinic and our pharmacy, have the multi-dose vials like you have here in the US. In fact, we import them from the US.
5 and 10 mLs.
Sorry, you have 5 and 10. So we have 2,000 milligrams per 10 mLs and 1,000 milligrams per 10 mLs available.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, you have 100 milligram per
so
ml,
yeah, and the others,
per ml, 10 ml vials. Yeah.
So it just depends what's going to be best for the patient. We also have the testosterone.
But that's new, because I remember you used to have the ampules of
those come from America, which we have to import from America to get them. So we have the ampules of cypionate as well, and there's testosterone, and there's libido, which is an undecanoate.
I mean, I've never liked it. It sounds very pretty.
Which one, libido or?
Libido is the one that you inject every 3 months, right?
Yeah, but it can possibly be injected more frequently. But it's.
Have you had any success with that? Any patient?
Yeah. In some of our patients in Norway.
I love the 3 times a week, man. It just.
Well, there's a dose, and that's a whole other video. The right protocol for the right person, right? Some patients. We got one patient who wants to switch to every 8 days.
Yeah.
From every 7. Well, he got dropped down to every 7 and wants to go back to every 8 because he prefers every 8.
Right.
And he's happy. So everyone's different. So there's not a one size fits all.
No, never. 100%.
If there's if you're interested in a certain dosing protocol, we don't sell the gold standard protocol, because every protocol patient's on is going to be their gold standard protocol.
Right. Correct.
As I said, if you are on testosterone, obviously as clinic owners and founders, we're not doctors or medical professionals, but obviously we know quite a lot.
Right. We've been doing this long enough.
We live the life,
and we see firsthand with the patients that come through us how they've experienced the treatment and the services. So obviously it. There are guidance and recommendations throughout the different professions like endocrinology, urology, sexual health, where they do recommend, for the most part, that if you are overweight, that testosterone may be able to help along with diet and exercise. So definitely something worth looking into. So thanks, guys, for your contributions for the content today, and everyone else, if you like the video, please press like. And do consider subscribing to the channel. We'll have more content, especially throughout the year. So thanks again for watching, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, man.